First, I'm going to say that it's the best defensive effort, game plan, execution, tackling against some pretty elusive skill players that I've seen in a long, long time. Second thing is that we average 8 yards a carry rushing the football. So, and I don't think we had a turnover, did we? We did? We turned it over? Oh, that's right. So we had one turnover. And they had 2 picks. So we won the turnover, rushed for 8 yards a carry, and tackled well in space. And that really kind of sums up what happened. We were throwing the ball okay, not great. But they were playing back pretty far and defending the pass, especially with James. So thankfully we've evolved and we can run the football pretty well now, and it, along with tremendous defensive play, it allowed us to play really well. 9 for 16 in third downs, and some of that is because we weren't in as many third and longs. Running the ball effectively allowed us to get in third and in a decent opportunity to convert. So I'm very proud of our running backs, the way they're running. Offensive line play, I always try to tell you without watching the tape, I think it was pretty dang good. I don't think we turned very many guys loose, and I think we created running lanes. And our punter, we punted 3 times, and I think his punt, he was excellent. He had one real long one, and then the other 2 I think were spot on. So special teams-wise, we were really good. We had some young guys in our kick coverage, and it made me a little nervous there. The fast guy almost hit a seam there one time. Other time they had a penalty, but still made me a little nervous. We got to improve in that area. So I was proud of our guys. Time of possession was even, but pretty complete football game by our team. I'm good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, last year we got beat up and got a little tired, but we also didn't play very well. We got out of position last year, and we got out of position against good teams, which makes it really bad. We've adjusted our practice routine this year, and we're considerably less overall, and I think that it paid off for us today. Actual on-field time, we're about 14 hours less of actual on-field practice time cumulative now than we were at this time last year. And you say, well, it doesn't seem like a lot. Well, it does. If it's 15 minutes a day, 4 days a week, you just kind of add it up, give or take, and we're about 14 hours less on the field. And I think, knock on wood, it's helped us from an injury standpoint, and our players seem like they're fresh. But their attitude's tremendous. This is not an easy place to play. It's not an easy place to rush for 330 yards. So it was a great day for our team.
In terms of your defensive preparation that you alluded to, how much did you spend on the Wildcat that they ran out there today?
On a 40-play set in a team period, probably about 7 plays. The reason you have to spend a little more time than what would be equivalent of the percentage of plays you're getting is because you're going to be a gap short in the running game for the most time. So we had to spend a little more time than we normally would based on the percentage of plays you're going to get in the game.
So did you guys thought they might show it at some point during this game?
Sure. We felt like that we were going to get more quarterback run / Wildcat than actually they gave us, just based on kind of what's happened over the last 5 or 6 weeks. We didn't get as much as I thought we'd get. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I thought we would see a little more option than in read zone concept than what we saw. But that was just our guess.
On the run game side of it, Mike, for you, knowing what you guys went through the last 2 years, how satisfying is that?
I told our team in 2006, 7, 8, and 9, that's how we used to finish games. That's what we were known for around here for a long time. So when we're not running the ball decent, it's really hard on me. But we've come a long ways. We were patient. We've built systems that allowed us to take full advantage of the players that we have, and we created running lanes. Our cowboy backs were fantastic. They make it go. They chop people up, and it makes it a lot easier for me to sleep when we know we can run the ball a little. Because if things aren't going well, you have to be able to do something. And if you can't run it, you're just stuck spinning your wheels.
How much has Carson's development and his growth played a role in that or impacted that ability to run?
Well, the attitude he brings to the game, in the running game, he's a completely different person than he was last year. And I told the team that. He's gonna be in an NFL camp now, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know a draft or any of that. I'm just saying that he went from not being as productive for whatever reason to right now he's pretty good college running back. He's strong. His attitude's good. He's got great balance, and he's been a really good weapon for our team in the latter part. Well, however long he's been back, 4 games or whatever it's been.
How would you describe that person you see now, Chris Carson? Say he's a different person than what who is he now?
I mean, he's a pretty good running back now. And, I cautioned our team about listening to the outside after the second and third game of the year. And I cautioned them again about listening to the outside when people are going to start telling them how good they are. But I felt comfortable in telling the team and Chris Carson today that he's the most improved player on our team. And he's grown up a lot as a young man because it's not easy to look past people saying what happened to you. And he's running like the guy we recruited now.
So that was Virginia game, that was real football. It seemed like another game like that.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like it was one of the line of scrimmage, not only did what you did offensively, but defensive line.
It's kind of fun to watch those games now. In this league, we see so many of the other that, and it was a real chess match going on in the first half, with all 4 staffs going against each other, offense, defense, and I enjoyed it. I thought we made great adjustments at the half, but it's just nice to watch a game played like that, and it was a very complete football game for us, especially on the road. It does. His savior was Chris Carson. If Chris wouldn't have been able to come back, I just don't know if his body could take it at this point. Not necessarily the hits, but just the fatigue that it takes. Those freshmen run into a wall. He didn't really run into it this year, but 2 or 3 games ago he slowed down a little bit. I think Jenny might have brought it up. He was just wasn't quite himself, and it looked like he's re-energized, and Chris Carson's allowed for that to happen. Sure does. It's kind of what we're getting out of him. And then, for a while there, we were using Kendall and Tostin the same way. And Tostin was a lot like Chris, and Justice is a lot like, shifty and different kind of runner. But they're pretty impressive with their ability to come off of tackles and keep their balance. Justice has a unique ability where his body can be in more of a 45-degree angle lean and not go to the ground. Pretty unusual for a player to do that. And then Chris's ability to run guys over and stay on his feet. That last run, he ran 2 guys over. That's not easy to do. So, but I will say this. I thought our offensive line play today was fantastic. Well, and Jenny brought it up. Last year, in the latter part of the season, we were beat up. We were really beat up on defense. We were tired. And Mason had a broken foot the latter part of the year. That's not a good combination. So I feel better about our team. I think that I'm almost sure the only thing we got today was Kirk Tucker had a little turned ankle, and I think that was it. I think everybody else is healthy. Burton didn't play today. We're going to give him another 10 days off, and then we should get him back full speed. Chad Whitener was in there some. We'll give him 10 days off, let those guys practice 2 or 3 days next week, and we should have him back. So I feel better about where we're at right now.
Mike, your thoughts on you put yourself in a position to win the conference. Bye week, well timed? Into that game?
Well, I think it's well timed because it's here and you can't do anything about it. It is what it is. We lose a week in recruiting. I've not been a big fan of this because we'll only have 6 days to recruit prior to the dead period. And that's a kind of a scary setup and dangerous for us in recruiting. But, obviously the conference is doing it this way to compete with the championship games. And obviously they made a good call up to this point.
Did the momentum carry over to the bye week?
This team is I told you guys 6 weeks ago that they changed completely. And I don't know how that happens. They create an identity for themselves. And I have a lot of confidence in them right now. I like where they're at. I think they care about each other. Their attitude and body language is tremendous. They play the next play. They don't worry about the last play. And, they live by it. They didn't come in here with fear, didn't show any frustration, and they never showed fatigue. And so as long as they continue to do that, they'll have a chance to be successful in every game they play.
From a production standpoint, Mike, Chris Lacey's giving you something pretty special. But Washington, last year getting taken away. Is that sort of what's happening there?
That and he's still tremendous in the blocking game. Big run we had, he was huge on the safety. And I was just sharing with Casey Dunn that coaches the Whiteouts, at the hotel, that it's really nice to see young men that work hard and don't get a lot of accolades. Good things happen to them. And he's become a real weapon for us, not only in the blocking game, but he's making plays in the throwing game. And Seals is involved. Seals had a play over here we could have made. Mason threw the ball out of bounds, but Seals would have went up and got that, I thought. But when you get safeties over the top, defending those guys, you got to do two things. One, you got to run the ball, and two, you got to throw the ball the other way.
Mike, considering where you guys were after that Baylor loss and the games in front of you, people would have said, hey, he's not finished your month without a couple more losses. Here you are having the rest of it. What do you attribute that to? You sort of addressed that earlier, but considering the turnaround.
Yeah, you don't get to 10 wins very often, and double digits is a pretty special place to be. And the one thing they did is they stayed focused and they didn't budge. And you go to Kansas State, you go to TCU, it's not easy. You play a number 10 ranked team in the country at home, it's not easy. You play Texas Tech with Mahomes, it's not easy. So I just like where they're at. And they train 342 days out of the year to get to this point. They don't get very many days off. And so they understand that, and they don't take it for granted, and it's all about them. It's not the coaches, it's their team. So, but I have to say I agree with you. It's been a heck of a transition from that point in the season.
You handled that Shane Richards elbow pretty good?
Yeah, I think it was his glove or something, but I was okay with it. I hadn't been hit that hard since my wife did that to me a week ago. But that was a pretty good blow there for me. I'm old. I can't take many blows like that.
When did you do to get your wife?
What's that? I just asked if there was dinner. That's all I asked. I mean, in this generation, you can't even ask for dinner. I mean, it's like I said, a guy deserves it, and she said, "Well, I'm busy. Fix it yourself." So. Not really. We talked earlier about we're in better shape now than we were. Again, we did not play well on defense last year late, but we were beat up. I think we're healthier. I know we're healthier, and our team's playing with a lot of confidence. We're going to play a good team. I mean, playing a team that's hot right now, playing really good, and very active on the offense, and looks like they're playing what would be better in their opinion, from the public's opinion, on defense. So it'll be a great challenge for us, but guys have worked hard and they're there. We'll be there in 2 weeks.
Hey, Mike, when you've reached this point, you won 7 in a row and are in position to win the league title, do you allow yourself to think about where you could be if you had that win that you shouldn't have got away?
Well, we did get the win. Nobody will ever convince me we didn't get the win. But yes and no. The reason I don't is because I tell the team not to. So I try to follow through in what I ask them to do. I try to do the same myself. But I know Kirby had mentioned that that the committee feels a certain way about that game. But I think Kirby's playing poker, and that they see us as a 10-win team. That's just my opinion.